Hey everybody, and welcome to the next episode of the Road to Battlefront. Today we're going to take a look again at Geonosis landing at Point Rain, which is a fan favorite among many Star Wars Battlefront player. Now, as I said in the last video, one thing that I'm actually kind of proud of for my channel is that I'm pretty much the only one that does Battlefront reviews purely from a gameplay standpoint. For example, other people that usually do reviews, they will, of course, know more of the material since they've actually seen the Clone Wars show, right? I have only seen a few episodes of the first season, and I kind of stopped watching it. But for example, for a lot of them, that might be good nostalgia, or they might compare it to how close it is to the show, and will base their opinion on that. I would, of course, then look at how gameplay or well balanced it is. That's why, again, I chose Verena Immortal Defense above this one, even though I think a lot of Star Wars Battlefront fans will find this map cooler because it just has a lot more crazy stuff going on. For example, the force field that you have here actually has some very interesting gameplay mechanics with the vehicles that you have. You have several vehicles available. However, once you reach it, it's becoming purely a infantry battle since they can easily get through the force field, unlike the vehicles can. Ow. Now, that does, of course, not mean that I only like maps that are well balanced. That would be kind of boring. For example, I still think Designated Days is one of the best maps, if not the best map out there. However, for example, for the top 10 of Season 1 maps that I did, I only did Conquest because that is where gameplay is the most important, gameplay balance and that sort of stuff. When you come to objective mode or campaign mode, then of course you can change the gameplay balance aspect very much, especially since, for example, in Designated Days it is anything but balanced, since it's kind of got to have the defending side as a at an advantage over the attacking. What I remember, one thing about landing Point Rain is that I really thought that the build-up was very cool, but once you actually got through force field, it slowed down a little bit. I think that was one of the aspects why it may not have been higher on my list. And this is a very good example of that. So, I got through the force field, very chaotic, very nice build-up until now, and then it just takes a little bit of a hit. But one of the other things that's also very nice about this is just all of the new skins. The textures are very crisp, very clear. You can see some tweaks on the colors of the lasers. And I actually have the music off because of copyright reasons. But I think actually some Pirates of the Caribbean songs are being played as well. Now you can see actually that the gameplay mechanic shifts a little bit since the first vehicles have crossed the force field. Takes a while, but after that it changes a little bit. There's of course also new custom units with flamethrowers. Oh god. But one thing I also wanted to talk about today, and I didn't want to only talk about this map, is that currently Gamescom is going on. I just finished watching the Microsoft press conference, and several game companies are going to show premiere trailers, and actually EA is going to show the very first gameplay video of the new Fighter Squad mode, which introduces air combat to the new Battlefront, which is something that I think so many people were worried about. And I think it is such a good idea and good strategy to actually have kept that secret and to do it for Gamescom. Gamescom slowly becomes more and more important as a game show with more drastic gameplay or game announcements. I should actually change class, I realized. So sorry about that. Oops. But they showed a small teaser of only a few seconds, and it looked amazing. Of course, flying with Star Wars or air-to-air combat is one of the highlights. It is usually my favorite part of the movie. I mean, I guess Battle of Hoth you couldn't really call air-to-air, but Battle of Endor is definitely my favorite space combat scenario. And I don't know if you guys remember that I was talking about that Star Wars feeling in the Tatooine Tusken Camp map, where a friend of mine actually did not think that the Star Wars games out there had the Star Wars feeling. I had that issue with the space battles in Star Wars Battlefront 2. It was, of course, made on current gen. The next generation consoles, the Xbox 360, PlayStation 3, were already announced. Gameplay was shown, and it just felt very underwhelming to see the space battles there. Not a whole lot of action going on. Maybe like, I don't know, 5 or 6 ships per team, and it just felt very anticlimactic. And I was worried with the 40-player limit that they were going to add ground-to-space combat to the new Battlefront, which they luckily did not do. I know a lot of you people want it, but with 40 people, believe me, you really do not want that. But yeah, I'm actually kind of glad that they showed a mode where it's only had... And if you look closely, there are a lot of TIE fighters out there. So one thing that they might actually do to make it more epic feeling than the Battlefront 2 space combat or air-to-air combat is that instead of having the big motherships where you can actually also be like an engineer and kind of be in the interior of the ship, maybe everybody's now actually in a fighter, and you will have 20 versus 20 space or air-to-air combat, which is very cool. Though I do have to say that being able to be in the motherships and infiltrate them also really had its charm. But again, as I said, it did give away a little bit of the epic feeling for me, because not a whole lot was going on with the units out there. When you would go out of the ship, it felt like a big empty space without a whole lot going on in terms of battles. You know, you need all those ships to fill up that emptiness that is known as space, the final frontier. Anyway, several mods, by the way, did fix this. There's an excellent Battle of Endor mod out there that is just swarming with units. It really makes me feel that old school Rogue Squadron feel that I miss so much. I mean, I've said it many times, Rogue Squadron is my favorite Star Wars game of all time, purely just because, you know, air-to-air space combat that is what Star Wars is, you know? To me, at least. So yeah, I'm actually very curious. The trailer has not been revealed yet, only the teaser, as I said, probably in the next Battlefront Road to Battlefront map video. I will talk about my thoughts on that video, but it's actually very positive. It is the most positive news I've heard up until now about Battlefront. And the Battlefront really needed that. Up on what I saw until now with, you know, the limited number of planets and maps, not a real campaign, but just, you know, a few co-op missions that probably won't offer too much. I was really worried about the amount of content that the game would have, and at least it would seem that they are adding a little bit more, which is good. I mean, ironically, the space-to-space combat might actually be the mode that will become the most popular and that I will play the most. I don't know. What I'm hoping, even though it's not canon in the movies, is I hope that they will add a Bespin map. In Rogue Squadron for the GameCube, the Bespin map was my favorite, and I just loved swooping through the buildings and just seeing how detailed it was for that time. Anyway, guys, I am not going to do this full map. This actually only supports Conquest, and if you want, I can redo this map in the future as the droid side. I know a lot of you actually sometimes want me to switch sides because I am the clones or the Empire so much. I can do that too again, because of course these are not necessarily map reviews, though I will of course give my opinion on them. But yeah, so let me know if you want to see that. Anyway, download link for this classic map is in the description down below. Go check it out. And let me know what you think of the new Fighter Squad mode that they introduce. See you guys next time.